Before you scroll past, let me tell you something that might just save your faith. That storm you're in, it's not punishment. It's construction. Don't quit in the middle of what God is building in you. Sometimes we mistake silence for absence. We think because it's quiet, He must be gone. Because things didn't turn out the way we expected, He must have left. But I came to break that lie wide open. God didn't leave you. He's building you. And the proof is in your pain, your process, and the power you haven't even discovered yet. There are seasons when it feels like everyone is gone. People walked away. Prayers went unanswered. Doors stayed closed. And you ask God, where are you? But what if the quiet wasn't abandonment? What if it was alignment? What if He's doing more in the unseen than you can even imagine? See, God doesn't build on broken foundations. So sometimes He has to tear down what was never meant to last. Sometimes He lets things fall apart because He's about to rebuild you into someone stronger, wiser, bolder. He's not ignoring you. He's reconstructing you. You asked Him to bless you. He said, I'll build you. You wanted the miracle. He gave you the process. You wanted the platform. He handed you pressure. Because God is less concerned about what you're doing and more concerned about who you're becoming. And baby, becoming hurts. The heartbreak wasn't wasted. The betrayal didn't break you. It revealed who never deserved a seat at your table in the first place. God will strip the crowd so you learn how to stand alone with Him. He'll shut every door to teach you how to knock with boldness. He'll leave you in a room with nothing so you realize He's everything. This season isn't about being seen. It's about being shaped. You don't need an audience to be anointed. You don't need a spotlight to grow roots. What's happening in private is setting you up for public power. But if you run from the process, you forfeit the promise. Let me say this loud. He never left. You just haven't seen the full picture yet. What felt like rejection was really redirection. What felt like delay was divine protection. What felt like silence was sacred development. He's not done. He's just getting started. You're still here because there's still purpose. If God was done, the breath would have left your body. But He's breathing on you even now. Through the tears, through the confusion, through the crushing, you're not buried. You're planted. And the bloom is coming. So, don't give up in the middle. Don't mistake the messy middle for the end. God didn't leave you. He's building you for something bigger. The silence of God is not His absence. It's His strategy. Sometimes the silence is louder than the noise. It can echo through your spirit like a thunderstorm you can't see, only feel. And in those moments, you start to question everything. Did I do something wrong? Did God walk away? But let me remind you, silence doesn't mean absence. Silence means something sacred is happening. Just like seeds break open underground before they ever break through the surface, so is God working in silence to break open something powerful in you. We often want the signs, the dreams, the clear voices, the instant confirmations. But what if the silence is the answer? What if God is teaching you to hear with your faith instead of your ears? We say we walk by faith, but as soon as God stops giving us verbal affirmations, we panic. But faith is trusting that God is speaking even when He's not saying a word. That's spiritual maturity. To believe He's still good even when it's quiet. Think about it. Even in the natural world, the greatest transformations happen in silence. A baby grows in the womb silently. A flower blooms in the soil silently. Mountains shift under the earth without a sound. So why would we expect our spiritual growth to come with loud applause? God doesn't need to announce every movement. He just moves. He works while you wait, and the silence is proof that something sacred is under construction. Some of us are addicted to noise because noise makes us feel like we're not alone. But sometimes God strips away the noise so that you can hear the sound of your own healing. He silences the distractions so you can finally face the root of your brokenness. Silence exposes the wounds we try to cover with activity. In that quiet space, God isn't far. He's close enough to whisper to your soul. But if you're too busy chasing noise, you'll miss the whisper that leads to your breakthrough. Silence is also God's way of developing your spiritual muscle. If He answered everything right away, you'd never learn endurance. If He gave you signs every step, you'd never grow discernment. If He spoke loudly all the time, you'd never develop sensitivity to His still small voice. So when He's quiet, He's not punishing you. He's promoting you. He's building strength, depth, and stability in your faith walk. The silence tests your identity too. When you can't feel God, do you still believe you're chosen? When He doesn't answer your prayer in your timing, do you still believe you're worthy? It's easy to believe when everything feels aligned. But the real proving ground of faith is when it's quiet, cold, and confusing. That's when you find out what you really believe. And that's where God meets you. In the wilderness of silence, with a strategy for your next level. And sometimes, the silence is a shield. God will go quiet because if He told you what's coming next, you'd self-sabotage. If He revealed the whole plan, you'd either rush ahead or shrink back. So He hides the details, not because you're unworthy, but because He's teaching you to trust without a blueprint. He's leading you step by step, teaching you that obedience doesn't need explanation. So if it's quiet right now, breathe. You're not alone. You're not forsaken. You're in the middle of divine strategy. God is positioning you, preparing you, and pruning you. The silence isn't empty. It's full of purpose. And if you listen closely with your heart, you'll realize He's been speaking all along. What felt like rejection was really redirection. You cried over doors that slammed. You questioned why certain people left. You blamed yourself for the no's, the exits, the betrayals, because you thought rejection meant something was wrong with you. But what if I told you that God was saving you with every closed door? What if the rejection you hated was the redirection you needed? What if the pain was God's gentle push to get you off the path of settling and onto the road of purpose? Sometimes God will allow rejection to protect your calling. He knows what your destiny needs and what your spirit can't carry. You were never supposed to stay in that environment, in that relationship, in that position that made you feel small. But you wouldn't leave on your own, so He allowed it to reject you. Not to harm you, but to reroute you. Because had you stayed, you would have survived. But you wouldn't have thrived. We often think that comfort means confirmation. God doesn't build His warriors in comfort zones. He builds them in the wilderness, in the waiting, in the breaking. Rejection is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your becoming. It's the moment you stop living for approval and start walking in assignment. And some of the greatest chapters of your life will begin with what looked like an ending. You wanted their yes, but God said no. And now you see why. That door you cried over. It was too small for your anointing. That person who walked away, they weren't equipped to carry the weight of who you're becoming. That opportunity you lost. It would have distracted you from the very thing God designed you to build. So no, that wasn't rejection. That was heaven intervening before you settled beneath your purpose. Redirection doesn't feel good in the moment. It confuses your emotions and can shake your identity. But that's where trust comes in. You don't have to understand God to obey Him. You don't need full clarity to move in full faith. He sees the end from the beginning. And sometimes He'll pull you out before you even realize what danger you were walking into. That's not punishment. That's protection dressed in disappointment. Some of you are still grieving what left, not knowing that what left was blocking what's next. God didn't let them reject you so you'd shrink. He let them reject you so you'd rise, so you'd realize your value, so you'd stop begging for tables He never called you to sit at. Rejection clears the room so God can fill it with what's real. Real calling, real community, real purpose. And let's be honest, some of us were addicted to acceptance. We needed people's yes to feel validated. But God is teaching you to be secure in Him, not in them. Because once you stop fearing rejection, you start walking in authority. Once you realize your identity isn't tied to other people's opinions, their rejection loses its power. And that's where your boldness begins. So when they walk away, when it falls through, when the door doesn't open, remember this. Redirection is love in disguise. God is not punishing you. He's positioning you. You didn't lose what you needed. You lost what was blocking what He's trying to give. And the sooner you stop chasing what rejected you, the faster you'll run toward what's been waiting on you all along. Delay is not denial. It's development. You've been waiting, and it's been longer than you expected. You've watched others get what you've been praying for. You've shouted for them, celebrated them, but deep down, you've asked God, what about me? You thought by now you'd be married, healed, promoted, elevated, further along. But here you are, still waiting, still trusting, still trying not to grow weary. Let me tell you something. The delay isn't God's rejection. It's His strategy. God is not in a hurry like we are. He doesn't measure time like we do. We want fast. He wants full. We want it quick. He wants it complete. Because God is more concerned about who you're becoming than what you're receiving. That thing you've been asking for, you need character to carry it. And sometimes He'll make you wait, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You see, when a builder lays the foundation of a skyscraper, it takes time, not because the builder is lazy, but because the higher the building, the deeper the foundation. And baby, if God's been digging deep in your life, it's because He's planning to raise you high. So don't resent the silence. Don't curse the wait. That delay is not a dead end. It's a construction site. You're not stuck. You're being structured. In the delay, God is pruning you. He's trimming off what can't go with you. He's strengthening your faith, teaching you endurance, breaking cycles, and healing wounds. Because when He blesses you, He doesn't want it to crush you. That delay is sacred. It's your boot camp. It's where the anointing is refined. It's where you're learning to hear His voice above the noise. You're not just waiting on a promise. You're becoming the kind of person who can sustain the promise. And while you're waiting, watch how He keeps you. Watch how He provides even when it looks like nothing's moving. Watch how He still whispers hope when everything seems silent. That's His presence in the delay. A reminder that just because you don't see the fruit doesn't mean the root isn't growing. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are being developed in the dark. It's tempting to rush it, to settle for something that's close enough to what God promised. But premature blessings can become burdens. You don't want to open a door before you're strong enough to walk through it. That delay is protection from what your impatience can't handle yet. So don't abort the process. Let Him finish what He started. Because when God does it, it's always on time, even if it doesn't come on your timeline. And let's be real. Some of us wouldn't have prayed like we do, worshiped like we do, or drawn near to God like we have if everything had come easy. The delay taught us desperation. The delay deepened our relationship. We stopped performing and started becoming. We stopped pretending and started healing. I accepted. That's what the delay was for. Not just to get you to your destination, but to prepare you to thrive once you arrive. So if you're still waiting, don't give up. Don't compare timelines. Don't assume the delay means denial. When God delays, He's investing in you. He's molding something eternal, not just giving you something external. The delay is a sign that you're not being dismissed. You're being destined. And what's coming, when it comes, will make sense of every silent season you endured.